you're a woman to go forward, to move forward, and to attract other peoples, and you need to shine. And this training leader to be workshop could be a great opportunity, and we will expand more on that. Let's move on our program and start now with the presentation of ICT4MDGs in Africa. Can I have the next slide, please? I like this quote from Nelson Mandela that said that none of us acting alone can achieve the success, and this additional quote from Peter Drucker said that the best way to predict the future is actually to create it. And what we're trying, being women and leaders also, is really to shape our society and the future. Focusing on ICTs for MDGs in Africa, if you have a quick overview of the current situation, what we see, what is happening now is that, ICT is bringing a big revolution in Africa because people start to see some opportunities, some doors that start opening. And unfortunately, most of those people are not driven by usage, but they are driven by the technology that is beyond usage. If you go to the village and you ask a grandma how works a telephone, she don't know, but she know how to use it when she needs someone to come from city to bring her something. And additionally, there is another generation of people in Africa that are looking for untapped opportunities, and what they are really looking for is some assistance to help them, to transform their own lives into success stories. And those guys really need talent development, and we also need, from a general point of view in that continent, to change the informal business practices and to, fill the gap between the bottom of the pyramid, the population, and the decision makers. Next, please. So, ICT4MDGs, what is needed? This workshop is about MDGs and how women leadership have to, achieve those MDGs. If we look at the 8 goals, poverty reduction, or mortality reduction, we can see that there is a great contribution of ICT for each of those. As an example, if we are able to provide medicine to people, even though they are in village or they are in cities, then using e-health, we can achieve that goal. If we are able to provide a tablet with interactive application to help each student or each child in Africa to learn the alphabet, for example, in his mother tongue, then we are achieving the goal number 2. If we can, match the production, the farming production with the needs, then we can achieve the goal 1. So basically, if we can use ICT for better policies, better processes, more transparencies, and, in all those sectors, we will achieve the MDGs. And what we need here is basically what I call the 3E. E stands for equality, efficiency, and equity. Equality because we need to give the same access and same opportunities to every kind of people, They won't take the opportunity, they won't be the same at the future, but they will start with the same opportunities in education, in health, in various sectors. If we can, be more efficient in terms of government policies, decision making, in the way we are operating in African country, using ICTs, then we will attract more and more people and we will develop ourselves. Let me just give you an example. Many people are interested in, having a company in Africa, but most of the time they say, wow, it's so complex to start a company. So what if we can do that online? Then they will come. The last thing is equity. I know that when we talk about equity, most of the time people think about company. But look at Africa like a big company, or country like big enterprise, big corporation. What companies are interested to is to raise their equity. And the most important asset is human capital. So if we can, raise that human capital, then people will shine. and we will achieve what we call the D needs, the deficiency need. And as you can see in the middle, this Maslow pyramid, where you use equality, efficiency, and equity, you can achieve those deficient needs. Now, how we can do that? Now we know that what is needed. Can I have the next slide, please? Let me introduce a few concepts. Most of the time, you know, in Africa, we talk about private-public partnership, and it's really a shame that in all development projects, the most important P is not there, it's the population. So what if we start the 4P, private, public, population partnership? And what if we can, you know, start avoiding having mismatch between the needs and the solution, because we talk to the right people, having a bottom-up and top-down communication, formalizing the informal sectors, and also, you know, clear the path between the decision maker and the bottom of the pyramid in shaping the Africa 3.0 landscape. What if we can start having a multi-stakeholders approach like the one we are doing here at the WSIS Forum? Let me expand more on that. Can I have the next slide, please? What we are doing in Cameroon is basically to have this 4P approach, private, public, population partnership, and to build from that 4 pillars. The first one is the policies, transparencies, and ethics. The second one is capacity building, collaboration, communication with all stakeholders, and fostering the entrepreneurship spirit. Because we think that if we have more and more people that are trained and skilled, then we will have a well-developed small and medium business sectors, and then we will start shining, you know, because the growth will start coming from the inside, what we call the inclusive growth. And in order to foster that, what we are doing is to have this initiative that we call the ICT Days. The ICT Days, it's a multi-stakeholder think tank. You know, it's a big ICT war room. It's an annual free conference. You come, you learn something, but you also, you know, tell the people what you need, what are your challenge, and ICT expert will start, you know, thinking about how to tackle those challenges, talk to the right person in the private or public sector, the decision maker, to see how together we can move in the right direction. So, just a quick overview, next please. For example, in 2012, we were, you know, expanding on the role and the dynamisms and synergies between ICT and MDGs in the regulation, in agriculture, in media, finance, education, and in genders. Next, please. And from that, you know, some people and from very different educational background came in, and they learned how to launch an e-commerce and a marketplace. They also talk about what they want to expand more, and you know, some of them said, next we want to talk about ICT for transport. We want sorry, can you come back? For the next session in 2030, we want to learn more about ICT and health. You know, we are trying to get feedback. What are your challenges? What are you interested in? What do you want to expand more? And then we can launch the right discussion with the right person. Let me just, next slide please, in the image. This is a very, very big event. We have 400 people coming from everywhere in Africa also. And there is a Facebook page if you want to, and for that we have got support from you know, ITU. The event was displayed on girls in ICTs, and regional representative of ITU was there to, you know, encourage people to go in that sense. Now, next slide please. The reason why we are doing this ICT Days is basically because we do think that there is a GDP growth in ICT mining. You know, people used to say that Africa is full of natural resources, but the next diamond is ICT mining. So how can we contribute to that? Well, we are ICT evangelists. We need to train people. We need to help them to understand the opportunities. We need to play that leadership role, that mentoring role. We need to help them, you know, to be more developed. You need by doing the capacity building. But the most important thing is that we need to have a strategic thinking. Where are we going? How can we reach that goal? And for that, we use that win-win approach. You come, you get something, and you learn something. We bridge the gap. We want to talk each other, and we want to know about your challenge. We want to have a thematic approach. You know, if you are in farming, then tell us about what are your needs. Let me just give you a quick example. You know, yesterday in Twitter, there were many tweets about farmers in Cameroon. The problem is that due to transportation issue, farmers cannot bring their production in big city to sell those. So what is happening is that if a buyer is coming to their village, they will be inclined to sell their production even if it's at a discounted price. This is the issue they're facing. So if I'm an ICT expert, I'm doing application or services, I need to know what is the local context to provide the application that will tackle those challenges. And social leadership and talent development, those things is because the strategy behind is to build Africa 3.0 with ICT mining as a provider of GDP growth. And we want all the stakeholders to take the action. Next slide, please. So the reason why, you know, we are focusing on content development. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Will you allow me just to say a few words because I need to go to the next one? I just wanted to say how impressed I am, and I just want to tell you that we here at ITU fully support the initiatives we are doing.
Thank you very much.
I feel the competency, the trust, the synergy in your eyes.
Thank you very much.
I feel it, and it's really reassuring. These are key issues that are very close to my heart. And at ITU here, our job is to ensure that the whole world is also on board with us. And the things that you do here this week will go a long way in contributing to that. So thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I shouldn't even tell you to continue because I know you're going to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can we put our hand together for the Secretary General Secretary? Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support. Actually, appreciate it.
Now, coming back to presentation, the GDP growth in ICT mining, why we are doing this focus on content development. If we look at the ICT landscape, I think that we can split that landscape into three key areas. The first one being the infrastructure. And what I have to say is that, you know, from the continental point of view, as the African industry is not well developed, it will be difficult for African companies to compete at that level. Let me give you an example. You know, we are building now the fiber optic based backbone, and to build that fiber optic based backbone, we need very, very experienced companies. So it will be very difficult for African company to compete at that level. If we look at the top, consultancy and training, of course there is, you know, a dynamic to raise the skill in Africa, but we'll still, you know, need couple of years to reach the level of the big five and big consultancy firm. But at this point of time, where we can compete, actually it's on the content development in the middle. And this is the area where we can have, you know, more and more SMBs, small and medium businesses. And this is what we are trying to do to help, you know, African people to understand that they can have a great contribution because they are aware of their needs and they know how to contribute to those needs. You know, Google and Microsoft, those companies start in people's house. So why don't African people just take that opportunity to shape their own future? And one of the key points in the ICT days is to help people to understand that this is a big opportunity and they need to jump in. So basically, the outcome, next please, the outcome of the ICT4MDGs is for us, because we are in consultancy, to propose in our conference report to the different stakeholders some, key points and how ICT can contribute to the GDP growth and inclusive development, with a big focus on application and services, how we can foster the local entrepreneurship and reinforce global collaboration. When I'm talking about global collaboration, it's collaboration between the bottom of the pyramid and the top of the pyramid, because in all the strata of the society, people need to know more about ICT. Here, this week, we have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about what is going on in different countries, in Africa and in the other region. But if you go in one of that country, go to the street and ask to, a guy, what is going on in terms of ICT in his own country, he won't be able to tell you. So we need to talk, we need to know more about what is going on, the different initiatives. And we don't need only to collaborate in the different strata, we need also to have a big collaboration between various African countries. If there are good things in Rwanda, I don't need to start from scratch. I just can use what Rwanda is doing because we have similar local context. And above that, we need also to talk to other region, other continent, because they have been through that path, and we don't need to make the same mistake, so we can learn from them. Let me give you an example. When we are talking about Africa, what is going in Africa right now? It's what was happening in China 20 years ago. A lot of state-owned company, enterprise, very informal business practices, lack of human resources and skill. And look at China 20 years later, things have changed because they have fostered local entrepreneurship. So we need to learn from that. And this is through this global collaboration. Of course, this approach is aimed to help us to shape our own future, but not only take what have been done outside and pass it in Africa, but really, adapt those best practices to our context. I think I say a lot today, so I would like to stop here. And thank you guys for your attention. I know that there might be some question, but what we are trying to do is to move fast with the presentation and give time for interaction. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, none of us acting alone can achieve the success. So we need to learn from you. We need to learn from your experience, and we will have time for that. Okay, I have talked a lot about talent development, and we have here Yvette Ramos, who is expert, and she's a UN expert, and she's also working on human and on Asia field. So I will now give the floor to Yvette to introduce a presentation on talent development.
Good morning again. So I'm glad now to go into more details. I was curious to effectively listen to Bashir. She was saying, we don't like to talk about us. And sometimes we like to talk about us in between us, in fact. And it's true that men sometimes, a lot in the political movements, but also in the other areas where politics are so important. We need to express about what we want to say, our vision of the world, but also about us, because it gives ladies, but also men, a new vision of what our capabilities, our skills, competencies. And it's very important. I'm a mother of 3 children, 2 ladies and a boy, and I can see that, yes, it's true, it's very important that they, right from when they are babies, they know that a woman also can have a nice diploma, but not only a diploma, also a career, and concretely be active through NGOs, through our words, through our participations in such summits and conferences. Myself, I've been working now for 20 years. I'm graduated in electronics engineering from École Polytechnique Féminine, which is a school in France. I'm Portuguese, but born and studied in France. And 20 years after, I can say that it was so good. My parents, if you imagine, my parents lived during the dictature of Salazar. If you know a little bit about the history, it was a bit tough. They migrated to France with nothing. My grandparents are illiterate, and they died now. But my parents, they didn't go to school, didn't have the opportunity to study really. And I'm proud to say that my parents put all their efforts as a mason and as a worker in the house for my mother. But mason